Please write down. To compensate the shrinkage, taking place in the third stage, the cavity is made slightly bigger, so that the casting is made slightly bigger, and after cooling, it shrinks down to the required size. For making the cavity slightly bigger, next point, the pattern will be made bigger. To make the cavity slightly bigger, the pattern will be made bigger by an amount called as the shrinkage allowance. Okay, by an amount called as the shrinkage allowance. Okay, so there should be no confusion. Okay, you have to be very, very clear that this topic shrinkage allowance, we are only dealing with the third stage. Only for compensating the shrinkage that is taking place in the third stage, we are using the shrinkage allowance, and for all other shrinkages, that is the first stage and the second stage shrinkage, we are using the riser. Okay, so for the third stage we will be using shrinkage allowance. Now, how are these shrinkages mentioned in terms of? For measuring any liquid, we use volume, right? So, if they have given us the liquid shrinkage and the solidification shrinkage in terms of percentage, let's say they have given us that the liquid shrinkage is 3%, then solidification shrinkage is 4%. They have just given us the percentage, they have not mentioned their percentages of what, right? Then in that case, by default, we'll take this as the percentage of volume. Why? Because in both the shrinkages, the metal we are supplying in the form of liquid. And how do we measure the liquid? We measure the liquid in terms of the volume. Okay. So write down, please copy. The liquid and solidification shrinkage, by default, are measured in percentage of volume. The liquid and solidification shrinkage by default are measured in percentage of volume. And what about the third stage? The third stage, called as the solid shrinkage. Right? The third stage is called as the solid shrinkage. Please write down. Solid shrinkage by default is measured in percentage of dimension. The solid shrinkage by default is measured in percentage of dimension. Solid shrinkage by default is measured in percentage of dimension. Okay. So, in both the dictations, I have used the term by default. Okay. That is, if nothing is mentioned, they have just given you the percentage. For first two stages, you have to take the percentage as the percentage of volume. And for the third stage, the percentage you have to take as the percentage of dimension. That is, if length, width are given, you have to take the percentage of length separately, you have to take the percentage of weight separately. These are by default, that is if nothing is mentioned. Okay, if something is mentioned, then you have to take whatever it is mentioned. Okay, you don't have to get emotional that sir told it will be volume only, it will be dimension only, right? Whatever is mentioned, take that. Okay, if nothing is mentioned, then take what I have told. Now let us see the solid shrinkage, that is the shrinkage allowance will be dependent on what? The shrinkage allowance will be dependent on what? The shrinkage is taking place during solid. When a metal is solid and it is shrinking, the amount of shrinkage or the amount of expansion when a metal is solid, it is expanding or it is shrinking because of the temperature difference. This expansion or this shrinkage depends on some coefficient. What is that coefficient? This you might have studied in strength of material. Can you tell me what is that coefficient called as? What is that coefficient called as? Sania is saying thermal expansion. Very good. The expansion or contraction of a solid component depends upon a coefficient called as the coefficient of thermal expansion. Okay. So similarly, shrinkage allowance will depend on coefficient of thermal expansion. This coefficient of thermal expansion is multiplied with the dimension. Let's suppose if we are talking about the length, coefficient of thermal expansion into length into what does come here? L alpha, what comes here? Delta T, right? L alpha delta T. L alpha delta T. Very good, Sunil. This delta T will be what? For the shrinkage allowance, what will be delta T? It will be a difference of two temperatures. Which two temperatures? In the third stage, the temperature is reducing from the melting point to the room temperature, right? So delta T will be melting point temperature minus room temperature. Delta T will be melting point temperature minus room temperature. Very good, everyone. Room temperature and melting point. Okay. So shrinkage allowance will depend on alpha, L and delta T. Delta T is melting point temperature minus room temperature. This is a previous gate question. Alpha is coefficient of thermal expansion. L is the dimension. Okay. This is a GATE 2001 question on the screen. The question is the shrinkage allowance on pattern is provided to compensate for shrinkage when? Then we have four options. Please tell me the right answer. The shrinkage allowance on the pattern is provided to compensate for shrinkage when? Tell me the right answer. What's the right answer, Anshu? Yeah, C. Okay, guys. So this is what I have explained you. The shrinkage allowance is provided for the shrinkage that is taking place during solid state. During solid state, the temperature is reducing from the melting point temperature, that is the freezing temperature according to our question, freezing temperature to the room temperature. Okay. Hence, option C is the right answer. Tell me the answer for this question. GATE 2004. Grey cast iron blocks, 200 by 100 by 10 mm are to be cast in sand molds. The shrinkage allowance for pattern making is 1%. The ratio of volume of pattern to that of casting will be. See, they are asking the volume of pattern to volume of casting. We say that the grey cast iron expands. That is right. Grey cast iron expands when it cools. But it expands only at the time of phase change. The grey cast iron expands only at the time of phase change. It shrinks at the time of the solid shrinkage. Just like all other metals. And since they are talking about the shrinkage allowance, the grey cast iron will also shrink. Okay? Any doubt in this? The gray cast iron expands at the time of phase change shrinkage. At the time of phase change shrinkage. But at the time of solid shrinkage, it shrinks just like all other metals. Had this doubt for over an year. No, Vishwas, this is the right answer. It will shrink. Is it clear now? Yeah, then the answer is D. Okay. So, volume of pattern. Obviously, we'll have to make pattern slightly bigger. So, the fraction will be greater than 1. Now, will it be 1.01 or will it be 1.03? In the question, they have mentioned the shrinkage allowance for pattern making is 1%. What do you understand by 1%? Since they are talking about the shrinkage allowance, this 1% tells us 1% of each dimension. They have not mentioned anything. This 1% is 1% of volume or dimension. Since nothing is mentioned, we'll take 1% as percentage of the dimension. Okay. So, let's suppose there is a number x that is increasing by 20%. So, how can you write that? The new number will be 1.2x. How? X plus 20 by 100x. So, it will be 1.2x. Similarly, if a number is increasing by 1%, you can write it as 1.01x. So, the 200 mm side will increase by 1%. So, 200 into 1.01. The 100 mm side is increasing by 1%. So, 100 into 1.01. The 10 mm side is increasing by 1%. Into 10 into 1.01. This entire thing divided by 200 into 100 into 10. This 200 will get cancelled, 10 will get cancelled, 100 will get cancelled. So what we will be left with is 1.01 whole cube. It will give you the answer as 1.03. That is the option D. Okay. Those who didn't get, please copy this. Those who got, please tell me the answer for the next question. Tell me the answer for this question. While cooling, a cubical casting of side 40 mm undergoes 3%, 4% and 5% volume shrinkage during the liquid state, phase transition and solid state respectively. The volume of metal compensated from the riser is. Please tell me the answer for this question. Yes, option B is the right answer. So in this question they are asking how much volume of metal will be compensated from the riser. From the riser we compensate only the liquid shrinkage and the phase change shrinkage. For liquid shrinkage we need 3%, for phase change we need 4%. So answer will be 3% plus 4%, 7%. The answer will be 3% plus 4%, 7%. Okay. One thing that is wrong about this question is, here we are adding the percentages. We cannot directly add the percentages, but that was the error in the question. Anyhow, this question I am using just to explain you the concept when riser is used and when riser is not used. So I hope you might have understood this concept. Okay. Any doubt in this question? Danish, any doubt in this GATE 2008 question? The next one, GATE 2011 question. A cubic casting of 50 mm side undergoes volumetric solidification shrinkage and volumetric solid contraction of 4% and 6% respectively. No riser is used. Assume uniform cooling in all directions. The side of the cube after solidification and contraction is. So in the question they are saying they had casted a 50 mm by 50 mm cube. Okay, but it is undergoing some shrinkages. So what will be the size of the final cube? What will be the length of the edges of the final cube? Okay, I'll start solving now. See, initial volume, they are saying they are casting a 50 by 50 mm cube. So initial volume is, Abhimanyu is saying option A. Very good, Abhimanyu. That's the right answer. What is the volume of a cube? L cube, right? So initial volume will be 50 into 50 into 50. Now they are saying that it undergoes a solidification shrinkage of 4%. That is a phase change shrinkage of 4%. 4%. This 4% is what kind of percentage? It is volumetric because they have mentioned volumetric. 4% shrinkage of volume. If 4% is shrinking, that means how much is left? 96% is left. 4% got shrunk, so 96% is left. So, volume after solidification. Volume after solidification is 96% of 50 by 50 by 50. That is 0.96 times of 50 into 50 into 50. So this is the volume after solidification. This is the volume after solidification. After solidification, a metal undergoes solid shrinkage, right? So this volume itself will undergo the solid shrinkage, right? Solid shrinkage they are telling us is how much? 6%. And I had told you that in solid shrinkage, if they have just given us percentage, then that percentage will be taken as the percentage of dimension. But in this question, they have given us volumetric. So this 6% is a 6% shrinkage of volume. So for solid shrinkage, the initial volume is 0.96 into 50 into 50. The final volume will be 94% of this volume. So final volume will be 0.94 into 0.96 into 50 into 50 into 50. So we'll finally have a cube which will have following dimensions: 0.94 into 0.96 into 50 into 50 into 50. So that will be equal to L cube. That is the final length of the cube, whole cube. So from this you get the value of L as the option A, 48.32 mm. You get it as 48.32 mm. Okay. Hence option A is the right answer. Very good, Nitika. So with this you have understood all the concepts of the shrinkage allowance. Next comes the machining allowance. Okay. So as I told you, to give better surface finish to the component, will make the component slightly bigger than the required size. For that we'll make the cavity slightly bigger than the required size. For that we'll make the pattern slightly bigger. The amount by which we are making the pattern slightly bigger is called as machining allowance. So you can see on the secondary screen the definition of machining allowance. It is provided to remove excess material from a casted component to obtain good surface finish. The machining allowance is provided to remove excess material from casted component to obtain good surface finish. Okay. Next is graft allowance. See, the image you can see. In the first image, when you will be removing the pattern, at all the times the pattern will be in contact with the mold wall. And at the time of removal, the pattern can damage the mold wall. If the mold wall is damaged, then we won't get very good surface finish on the casting. That's why what they do is they will make the pattern slightly tapered. So that when they are removing the pattern, there is no contact between the pattern and the mold wall, and the pattern does not damage the mold wall. This is called as taper allowance. This is called as graft allowance or taper allowance. Okay. Now there are three pattern materials there are many pattern materials, but three pattern materials that we are interested as of now. These are wax, mercury, and polystyrene. So what happens is, if you have used wax pattern, mercury pattern or polystyrene pattern, The wax pattern is removed in the form of liquid. The wax pattern is heated, it becomes liquid, and it is removed in the form of liquid. When it is removed in the form of liquid, it cannot damage the mold wall. It cannot damage the mold wall. Hence, there is no need to give the draft allowance in wax material, in wax pattern. Similarly, when the pattern material is mercury, what will happen? You might have seen mercury. Mercury is liquid in room temperature, right? So, we'll remove the mercury in liquid form. Again, it cannot damage the mold wall. Therefore, there is no need to give the draft allowance in case of mercury patterns. And then we have polystyrene. The polystyrene is removed in the gaseous form. Hence, again it won't be able to damage the mold wall. Hence, again there is no need for the draft allowance. So, wax and mercury are removed in liquid state. Whereas polystyrene is removed in gaseous state. Therefore, there is no need to give draft allowance in these materials. There is no need to give draft allowance on these materials. Okay, write down. To reduce the chances of the damage of the mold cavity at the time of pattern removal, the vertical faces of pattern are always tapered. This provision is called as draft allowance. Draft is always provided as an extra material. It is not required in wax, mercury and polystyrene patterns. What do you understand by the second line? The second line is draft is always provided as an extra material. For example, this was the original casting that you wanted to remove, right? Sorry, this was the original pattern. So for making it tapered, we'll add extra material like this. That is the meaning of the second point. Draft is always provided as an extra matter. Okay. So please copy this. Once you have copied, reply me with done. Done or okay. Okay. Next is shake allowance or wrapping allowance. So what happens in shake allowance or wrapping allowance? Let's say this was the mold. Inside mold, this is the pattern. Okay, this is the pattern. So to avoid any sticking of the sand particle to this pattern material, to avoid the sticking of the sand particle which is present around to this pattern, what we do is we shake the mold. When we shake the mold, the pattern will move up and down. When it is moving up and down, what will happen? It will increase the size of the cavity. Okay. So what we do is, to avoid this, we'll make the pattern slightly smaller. Okay. What is happening is, for avoiding the sticking of pattern to the mold, we are shaking the mold. When we are shaking the mold, the pattern will be moving. When the pattern is moving, it will make the size of the cavity slightly bigger. Therefore, we make the pattern slightly smaller. This is called as the shake allowance or the wrapping allowance. Now, you might have seen that out of all the allowances that we have used till now, in all the allowances, in the pattern we were supplying extra material. In shrinkage allowance, we were making the pattern slightly bigger. In machining allowance, we were making the pattern slightly bigger, so that after machining we can remove the material. In taper allowance or the draft allowance, we are making the pattern slightly bigger in the form of the tapers. This is the only allowance in which we are making the pattern slightly smaller. Hence, this one is called as the negative allowance. Again, it won't be needed in wax, mercury and polystyrene. Why? Because in wax, mercury and polystyrene, they are not removed in the solid state and there won't be any risk of the molding sand sticking to the pattern material. Okay. So please copy this. At the time of pattern removal, the pattern is wrapped all around the vertical faces to prevent adhering of sand. This enlarges the mold cavity slightly. It is a negative allowance and it is not required in wax, mercury and polystyrene patterns. Please copy this. Sir, is we make pattern after calculating all the allowances? Yeah, Anshu. Obviously, we will make the pattern after calculating all the allowances. First, we'll calculate what is the size of the casting required from engineering drawing or whatever the design you have made. What is the size of casting required? In that casting, we'll keep adding all the allowances. After adding all the allowance, we'll get the size of the pattern. Okay. Next one is distortion or camber allowance. Next one is distortion allowance. It is also called as camber allowance. So some of you, any one of you asked me, sir, what is camber allowance? So camber allowance is nothing but the distortion allowance. So in the diagram you can see there are 6 diagrams, 3 in the top and 3 in the bottom. Please focus on the 3 top diagrams. Okay. Let's suppose this is the casting that you wanted to make. Now, because of some distortion, let's suppose here we have the molding sand. This is the casting. Okay. Now you want to remove the casting from the mold. So for that you will have to break the mold. Let's suppose you are applying load from the top. And because of that it is becoming in this shape. It is becoming something like this shape. Okay. What is happened is the metal when the metal has just solidified, it is very very weak. Its shape can easily change. Okay. Hence, because of the small forces also its shape can change. So what we do is we'll make the initially we'll make the casting of opposite shape. So that because of the load applied, it will get transformed into the shape that we want. Okay. So this is called as the distortion allowance or the camber allowance. Whenever we are making anything convex, it is called as cambering. So you can see here, initial casting is made convex in shape. Hence, this is also called as camber. Okay. So this shape change can be because of the load applied, or it can be because of different rate of cooling. One side is cooling fastly, one side is cooling slowly. So the part that is cooling fastly will shrink fastly, and the part that is cooling slowly, that will shrink slowly. So the part that is shrinking fastly, rapidly, it will shrink, leading to the bending. Okay, that's why we are applying this distortion allowance. A metal when it has just solidified is very weak and therefore it is likely to be distortion prone. This is particularly so for weaker sections such as long, flat, V and U sections, or in a complicated casting which may have thin and long sections which are connected to a thick section. Okay, so this is distortion allowance. Please copy this. Saurav is asking, repeat camber again. Saurav, whenever we make anything convex in shape, we say that we are cambering the component. Okay, we are cambering the component. So here we wanted this flat shape, but instead of making this flat shape, we are making it convex like this. So that after distortion it becomes flat. Therefore, this is also called as cambering allowance. Okay, understood? How we came to know that distortion will be in desired direction? Okay, very good. The distortion can be because of two reasons. One reason is because of application of the load. For breaking the mold, you are applying the load from the top. In that case, the component can bend like this. Other is different rate of pulling. If due to some reason, the top layer is cooling rapidly, and the bottom layer is cooling slowly. layer is cooling slowly. So both these layers will shrink. Both these layers will shrink, but the top layer will shrink more and the bottom layer will shrink less. So because of that, again there will be chances that it might become something like this. It might become U. It might become U shape, right? So again, that will tell us the distortion. Okay. So the distortion will depend upon the geometry or the application of the load. Okay. By understanding the geometry, you can tell in which direction the distortion will be taking place. It won't be a very difficult thing. By applying the heat transfer, you can tell that in which direction there will be more heat transfer, more cooling, hence more distortion. Okay, Tulsania, the first cooled side will bend more, right? Because in first cooling side, there will be more shrinkage. And more shrinkage, it will bend like this. So, in the portion where there is first cooling, in that side it will bend. So with this, the pattern allowances topic is over. Which side has more shrinkage? The shrinkage will depend upon the heat transfer. The portion which higher heat transfer is taking place, it will clear more from the geometry. It will become more clear from the geometry. Okay. Next, let us see the pattern materials. What are the pattern materials that are generally used? First, let us see the properties of pattern material. Properties that are desirable in a pattern material. First property that is desired in a pattern material is moisture absorption. A pattern material should not have any moisture absorption. So what happens is, if the pattern material is having good moisture absorption, it will absorb moisture and it will expand. When it is expanding, it is not remaining in the size that we wanted it to have, right? Its size is changing. That's why it should not have any moisture. So next doubt is, sir, from where will it get the moisture? In the molding sand, we add some portion we'll add as water. In the molding sand, we add some water. The reason for adding this water is so that proper binding takes place between the molding sand. Okay. This water might get absorbed by the pattern material, and this pattern material may expand because of the absorption of the water. Yeah, Danish is in green sand. Very good, Danish. Okay. Hence, it should not have any moisture absorption. Second point is, it should be easy to shape. Easy to shape. Obviously, for making the cavity, we require the required shape of the pattern. And if we are able to make that shape of the pattern easily, it is very good for us. So, it should be easy to shape. The third one will be, it should have low density. Why low density is needed? Why low density is needed? For better handling. If the density is low, the weight of the pattern will be low. And if the weight of the pattern is low, it will be easier for us to handle the pattern. And the fourth one is, it should be readily available. It should be readily available. And it should be cheap. It should be cheap. Right? This is the most important part. It should be cheap. Okay. So overall, the properties required are no or low moisture absorption, easy to shape, low density, readily available, and cheap. Okay. Please copy these properties. Based on these properties, the commonly used pattern materials are wood, metal, plastic, wax, and mercury. Interesting. Then the third point, low density. So if the pattern material is having low density, its weight will be less, and if the weight is less, its handling will be easy. Okay. If the weight is less, its handling will be easy. Out of all the properties that were required, which property wood will not satisfy? Which property wood will not satisfy? It will not satisfy moisture absorption. It will not satisfy moisture absorption, right? Therefore, we'll be going for the woods that are having low moisture absorption property, right? We use wood with low moisture absorption like teak wood and mahogany. Okay. The wooden patterns are made by carpentry. Let us see the next pattern material. The next pattern material is, out of all the desired properties, again the metal will not be able to satisfy the property about low density. Therefore, generally we go with metals having low density. For example, aluminium. We use low density metals, aluminium. How are we going to make metallic patterns? The metallic pattern will be made by, Nitika, by machining you can make like simple shapes. But generally in casting, when you want to make complicated shapes, and we are using metallic patterns, powder metallurgy, by melting, casting. Yeah, Abhimanyu. We are going to make the metallic pattern by casting itself. It will be made by casting. But now, when you are making this metallic pattern by casting, you will be using some pattern. Let's say, for making this metallic pattern, we are using wood as a pattern material. Now, in this wooden pattern, we'll be using double shrinkage allowance. The reason for giving double shrinkage allowance is, the first shrinkage allowance will be for the metallic pattern, and the next shrinkage allowance will be for the final casting. What I am saying here is, the metallic pattern will be, if the metallic pattern is made by casting, it can be made by machining also, but generally it is made by casting. If the metallic pattern is made by casting, then the pattern that will be used for the casting of metallic pattern will be having double shrinkage allowance. One shrinkage allowance will be for the metallic pattern, and the next shrinkage allowance will be for the final casting. Okay, please write this down. I'm going to dictate. For casting of metallic pattern, whichever pattern is used, for casting of metallic pattern, double shrinkage allowance will be given on that pattern. One shrinkage allowance will be given on that pattern. One shrinkage allowance will be given on that pattern. One shrinkage allowance will be for the metallic pattern. And another shrinkage allowance will be for the final casting. Another shrinkage allowance will be for the final casting. And the third is plastic. Third one is plastic. Okay guys, plastic is nothing but, it is a polymer. It is a long chain of different molecules. So by changing these molecules, you can get all the desired properties. Hence, plastic are the most widely used pattern materials, because all the desired properties can be obtained in plastic. Okay, so plastic are most widely used pattern materials. As they satisfy all the properties. Example are PVC, nylon, then we have even the polystyrene that we saw. Even the polystyrene is the plastic pattern. So these are some commonly used plastic materials. Even in fact in the second video that we saw, the pattern material was plastic, if you remember. Next two pattern materials are wax and mercury. Okay,